Well, hey there, guys. So you want a random vlog, Dave? I've got a random vlog here because I had absolutely no intention of sitting down and talking about this, but I was online a minute ago on GameSpot.com, linking off of an article about the new update for GTA Online, and it was some sort of a contest. Vote for your favorite games that were shown at E3 well, this one was for Wii U. I didn't notice the contest before. Anyway, the contest isn't the important part of it. It was that on websites like GameSpot and a whole bunch of others, when you get down to the end of an article, there's usually a bunch of other articles that they want you to check out. And I just briefly glimpsed a shot of Hayden Christensen, and underneath it said 9 miscast roles that totally ruin movies. I didn't even have to look at the article to know why Hayden Christensen was pictured there. Because a lot of people say that, or apparently the gist I would get from just that picture and title is that Hayden Christensen, cast in the role of Anakin Skywalker in the prequel movies, ruined those movies. All I can say to that is, hell no. He was not the one that ruined those movies, and I don't even consider those ruined movies. I was actually very satisfied with those prequels. Satisfied is a great word for it. They didn't blow me away. They're not as good as the original trilogy. They never will be. I don't imagine that the next movies, 7, 8, and 9, or however many they end up doing, however many spin-offs they end up doing, none of them are going to quite touch the original trilogy. Everybody just has to understand that that's the way that it is. Nothing will ever approach the level of the classic originals. But Hayden Christensen was the least of the issues with, at least episodes 2 and 3, because he wasn't in the first one. But if we want to point out a horrible casting decision that was involved in the first one, it was Jake Long, or whatever his name is, the kid who played Anakin in the first movie. I'm going to have to look it up now because it's going to bother me if I don't. But that kid there, I thought he was horrible. Jake Lloyd, that's his name. Jake Lloyd was in the first movie, played Anakin Skywalker as a little kid. As a child actor, you can tell when kids have it and when they don't. When kids have a natural talent for acting and they can take direction, and they can convey the emotions that are required for scenes and movies, as opposed to just smiling and being cute and precocious and looking good and stating lines and just making their cues and whatnot. I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we don't see in any movie that involves child actors, and how often it has to be redone, and how many times they have to be told, what it is they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. Jake Lloyd just didn't have it. He was the weak link, in my opinion, in The Phantom Menace. But anyway, the point I'm trying to talk about is Hayden Christensen, and how I feel like he gets a lot of unfair hate for his portrayal of Anakin in episodes 2 and 3. Hayden Christensen's a serviceable actor. Everything else that I've seen him in, I can't say that there's been a lot, but I've seen a few movies he did aside from the 2 Star Wars movies. He did just fine. He's fine. He's not the world's greatest actor. No, he's not. Neither were a lot of the people in the original trilogy. Hayden Christensen was perfectly fine in the role that he had. The problem with the prequel trilogy, all 3 movies, was who wrote them. George Lucas. He was the issue in all of this. And it pains me to say that, even though I'm right, it pains me to say that the guy who created the Star Wars universe, the mythos, the characters, so many aspects of it, that he was the issue. He was at fault in why those movies weren't as good as they could have been. He should have supplied the source material. He should have supplied the story, the inspiration, nuances, backstories, whatever. He just shouldn't have been the one in charge of writing the movies, especially dialogue. He was the one who was at fault for that. It should have been handled by better writing teams who could have wrote something, presented it to him, he could have gave it the yay or the nay, and then they could have moved forward with it. I'm sure it would have done worlds of difference in the quality of those movies. Still, they wouldn't have been as good as the originals, but they would have been better than what they were, and they at least would have been more universally embraced than what they are now. I'm a Star Wars fan, so anything that I can get a hold of that's Star Wars related, that at least I have to believe is somewhat related to the canon, as far as like the movies are concerned, a lot of the video games, the occasional book. I know that a lot of books are not canon, they're extended universe or whatever, and that's why a lot of people are curious as to what the new movies are going to bring, because they may or may not be what most people regard as, you know, the future of our favorites, you know, because of all those years we didn't think we were going to get more movies. So a lot of people adopted the idea that Han and Leia had kids, and Luke had at least one, and the kids were strong with the Force, and the Jedi order was going to be restored, and you know, yada yada yada. And now we've got these new movies, and we don't know exactly what they're going to do. I'm just thankful. Right now, at this point, I'm really thankful that Lucas let it go to somebody else, and it will be handled by people who will probably take better care of it. Well, not take better care of it. That sounds really douchey of me to say. Like I said, George is awesome. He's a god, you know, in terms of when it comes to Star Wars. That's his baby. He just shouldn't have been the one penning the words, the dialogue that came out of someone like Hayden Christensen's mouth, and Natalie Portman, and all the rest of them. I just think at least maybe he should have had more assistance, or better assistance, if he wasn't the sole screenwriter. He should have just had less to do with that and more to do with orchestrating. Like I said, he's God of the Star Wars universe. Why not pull the strings, but let somebody else take care of the details? So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. I just, that got my attention, got under my blood a little bit, or under my skin a little bit, and boiled my blood. It has for years now, when people take so many shots at someone like Hayden Christensen, casting choices and whatnot. I think the actors that were picked were fine, save Jake Lloyd. I just think they could have done a much better job and got a better kid actor. But I mean, even as unpopular as this may be to hear, even Jar Jar Binks was fine. He had his role, he had his place and things in the first movie, and then of course they realized a lot of people didn't like it, so he had reduced roles in the second and third movies, and that was fine. Whatever. I'm a guy who loves the Ewoks, even though a lot of people think that the Ewoks were kind of the big sore point in Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is my favorite of all the Star Wars movies, and the Ewoks are an integral part of that movie. You can't deny that they're there, and they did their part. So anyway, that's about all that I have to say about that. Star Wars, just, I hate to see people taking shots at Hayden Christensen when he did as good a job as could be expected. You know, since we're not dealing with Oscar award-winning actors for the most part in these movies. So anybody have any thoughts about Star Wars, the original trilogy, the prequels, the new movies, or anything like that? Are you looking forward to them? I'm looking forward to seeing more about them before I really commit to you know, whether or not I'm going to dive headfirst into them or wait. But that's just me. I can't watch a lot of movies anyway. It's hard for me to get excited about stuff and then have to wait months and months for them to come out on Blu-ray. Okay, well, I'm babbling now, so that's it for this. See you next time.